YouTube, hey there, it's Casey Dimon here, TaxSellAcademy.com. Thank you so much for joining me as I record an episode for the Tax Sell Podcast. As always, if you enjoy podcasts, make sure you check us out at TaxSellPodcast.com. That way you can download us on your favorite podcasting platform. But if you prefer to watch me right here on YouTube, let me know by clicking that thumbs up button and sit tight as we are about to record that audio version right now. Welcome to the Tax Sell Podcast, where tax sell investing is made easy. My name is Casey Dimon. I'm a tax sell veteran. I'm a leading tax sell expert, author of the Tax Sell Playbook. I'm the founder of the Tax Sell Academy, and I am your host right here on the Tax Sell Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on today's podcast episode. As a reminder, this is a completely free podcast and is brought to you through and because of the Tax Sell Academy. If you're looking to learn more about investing in tax defaulted real estate, just head on over to TaxSellAcademy.com. Again, that's TaxSellAcademy.com. One of the very common issues that brand new tax sell investors have is that the tax sell business starts off as something very, very easy. They get into it, however, and they quickly realize there's actually quite a bit to becoming successful in this business. And then overwhelm seems to take over, and eventually they leave the business entirely. And this is something that I've seen happen time and time again in my career and is totally avoidable. And obviously, that's such a big reason that I have the Tax Sell Academy to begin with. So in today's episode, I want to provide you with some of the tactics, some of the strategies and the knowledge that will help you to understand this business a little bit better, which will ultimately allow it to be a much easier business for you to succeed in. Now, I'm not telling you that these tactics, these strategies, these things I'm about to show you are going to be easy. I'm not telling you that this business is easy, but if you take the time to learn about the things I'm discussing today and you understand them fully, then your business will become much easier because of it. So here we go. Here are a few ways to make the tax sell investing business easier for you. The first one is to know your laws. And I've said this about 1,000,000 times, but the laws in your state, the one that you're investing in, that relate to the tax sell business, that is your entire business. Without them, we simply do not exist as tax sell investors. It's as simple as that. Yet, so many people completely ignore this fact, and they never, not one time, read any of the laws that relate to tax sell investing. It baffles me. Make the time and spend a couple of hours one evening reading through those laws that apply to you as a tax sell investor. Take notes, and then analyze what all that stuff means. Yes, it might seem boring, but that doesn't matter. Learn these laws and you will avoid all the aggravation that comes from the alternative by not knowing those laws. If you don't know these laws, this business is much harder than it should be. If you want to succeed in this business and if you want to make your life so much easier, know these laws. The next piece of advice to help make your business much easier is to have a process. Have a process for everything. I cannot tell you how many times I've been at an in-person auction and I will see somebody pull out the newspaper that has a tax sell list in it, and they will look at that list for the very first time while they're waiting for that auction to begin. I've even seen people have a list in one hand, their laptop computer in another hand, and they're actually researching properties minutes before those properties are going to be sold. Now, obviously, that's kind of an extreme example, but those folks, they do not have any sort of process in their business, and it's going to be much more difficult for them. So start with a process about which auction lists you want to research, perhaps. Instead of just going aimlessly from one county to the next county, just stumbling back and forth trying to figure out what you should research. Instead, do it with a system. Have a process. Nail down the type of investment that you want to make, maybe tax liens or tax deeds, and then find those tax lien or the tax deed states. Then work through it county by county. If you don't want to invest there, simply cross that county off the list. That way you don't waste time with the future researching that county. If you do want to invest in it, then start working down that list with some sort of process. When you begin researching your properties, have a system on what exactly you'll be researching. Figure out the most efficient way for your business. If you're looking at, say, the property assessor's report, what exactly are you looking for? Do it the same way every single time. Scan that property assessor's report the same way every single time. Those are just some examples, but I have a process for just about everything in my tax sale business. I have a process for determining which auctions I will go to, for researching my properties, for preparing for the auctions. I have a process for auction registration. I have a process, believe it or not, for choosing my seat at an in-person auction or for logging into an online auction. I have a process for tracking my successful and unsuccessful bids. I have a process to handle the properties after auction once I do purchase them. I have a process for everything. I do not believe in just winging it and hoping to succeed. Instead, I've developed and I've tweaked the processes that I use over the years, and I highly suggest that you do as well if you want your business to operate as easily as possible. The next one is I don't speculate. So many people think that investing is the same as speculating. And sure, there's always that risk of loss. There's always a risk that we aren't going to be here tomorrow. So in theory, I guess we are speculating on everything that we do. But hear me out. The point is, I don't blindly buy anything. I always have a plan along with a backup plan for every single property that I purchase. I have a large contact list of investors that I sell to on a regular basis. If one investor doesn't want the property for whatever reason, there's another one right there next in line. It's simply up to me to line up these buyers, figure out exactly what they want, and then go out and buy it so I can resell it to them. Now, it has not always been this way, of course. When I did not have specific people identified to sell my investments to, I'd instead identify a large potential audience where I knew it'd be very easy for me to exit that investment. It's much easier to resell a 1,200 square foot house or a quarter-acre building lot than it is to resell a lighthouse, right? Don't buy properties based on speculation. Buy properties based on confidence that you have in your exit strategy. Speaking of lighthouses and complicated transactions, the next one is to keep it simple. This is something that I've done most of my career and it has worked extremely well for me. I will routinely get emails with long, crazy scenarios from brand new investors who are trying to, in quote, beat the system. They've come up with some sort of weird idea that they think will change the world, yet they've never purchased a piece of real estate before, and they've just learned about tax sale investing yesterday. And their results with these crazy scenarios are always going to be disastrous. So instead of going after the most complicated deals, focus on the simple stuff. That means you should buy that boring vacant lot instead of the old schoolhouse building that's being offered. The same can be said for all aspects of your business. While sometimes you need to be creative in certain aspects like, say, borrowing funds, the overwhelming majority of the time, you should focus on keeping everything as simple as possible. It'll make your business and your life much, much easier. The next one is closely related, and that is to focus on low effort, high reward transactions. I mentioned this in a podcast recently, and I truly believe in it. I try to focus every second that I have on low effort, high reward transactions. Now, from a monetary standpoint, you need to think about the value of your time. If you're investing weeks and weeks of effort into one transaction and you're only making, say, $500, then the value of your time might come out to $3 or $4 an hour. So instead, change your strategies a little bit and find properties to invest in that you can resell quickly, easily, and with fewer potential complications. This will not only increase the value of your time that you have invested in those transactions, but odds are it'll make you a heck of a lot happier in life. And speaking of that, we can use the same exact equation in our lives. It's miserable when we are working so hard at something, even if it's a friendship, for example, and the reward is very, very low. So focus on low effort, high reward transactions, and I'll promise you that you'll be much happier and much more successful, especially in the tax sale business. And the last one is to embrace adversity. I heard someone mention a short time ago that adversity is a tool. It's not suffering, and you shouldn't look at it as something that's painful or something that holds you back. You should look at it as a tool that you use to help you grow. Every time that I struggled in business and every single investment that I made that was extremely difficult for me, it caused me to grow. On a specific level, when I started to invest out of area, I did not take the time to study and learn the local laws. Eventually, I ended up with a few court summons, some tickets, and the threat of jail time if I didn't take care of that stuff. And I've told that story a number of times. And obviously that caused a lot of stress, a lot of aggravation for me. But guess what? The next time that I invested out of area, you better believe that I knew all the laws that would apply to me there. The same can be said when the market turned back during the 2008 financial crisis. I learned that I needed to adjust my strategies as the market changed. Eventually, I got to the point where I was making as much, if not more money in a down market than a good market. Adversity is a tool that we need to use to learn. It's a tool to help us become better educated. And it's a tool that, when used properly, will bring us success as a direct result. Tax sale investing does not have to be a complicated business. In fact, when you're doing it correctly, it should be extremely easy. Just keep these points in mind. Again, know your laws, have a process for everything, don't speculate. Keep it simple. Focus on the low effort, high reward transactions, and embrace adversity. If you focus on making your business as easy as possible from day one, it'll allow you to have freedom in your business. It'll reduce your stress and your workload, and you'll likely become much more successful in the long run because of it. Listen, I truly hope that you've enjoyed today's podcast episode. If so, please take just a few seconds out of your day to leave us a positive review on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to us on right now. And if we can be of any help in your quest for tax sale success, there are a number of links down below in the show notes section, including one to our primary website at thetaxsaleacademy.com, where you can join the academy for our most advanced step-by-step training that we offer. I'll see you next time right here on the Tax Sale Podcast. Take care and make it a successful day. See ya.